Tonight, a torturous and unsolved murder mystery. A family longs for justice while one of the suspects is looking for redemption. I'm Lisa Monahan with an Oklahoma Zone original.
This case was certainly out of the ordinary, I think, certainly for Bethany. And as it turned out, it's probably unordinary for the metropolitan area. We're talking about a 19-year-old girl who just had started her life.
She was very loving.
She was so proud to be grown up and living on her own. In life, like everything, things change. Knowing that she was so far involved in that circle, the stories that she told, not by giving any names, just saying, these people are looking for me. These people, I took this.
It's almost as if she knew something was going to happen. I got on Facebook because that was my way of keeping track of Karina, you know. I realized that she hadn't been making posts. I felt fear that something was terribly wrong.
We've got a smell and a large black bag that has been hidden here.
And they broke in with a story.
We begin here at 5 o'clock with a breaking news update. A body discovered inside a duffel bag in a field near Northwest 23rd and Rockwell.
Investigators have been on the scene.
And when I heard that,
For clues as to how it got
I was like, no. I was like, no.
It was a horrific crime scene.
I have some new developments tonight, big developments in the murder investigation of 19-year-old Karina Saunders. Prosecutors filed first-degree murder charges against Luis Ruiz and Jimmy Massey.
Maybe we're seeing justice, you know, and then all of a sudden they're getting charges dropped.
It hurt. It hurt bad knowing that they were going to go free, and we're sitting here still trying to figure out what's going on. Did I want to go and find them? Oh, yeah.
Margie, Richard, I know you guys have for a long time wanted an opportunity to sit down with Jimmy Massey and ask him some questions.
Well, this is about as close as we're going to get. And believe me, their thoughts ran about being a lot closer.
I'm like, man, these people are really...
Put yourself in our shoes.
Oh,
And you're the accused.
I have.
Do we want to see you walk free? We don't know you.
And you're making an innocent man go through hell.
The test has begun. Please remain still. Did you cause the death of Karina Saunders?
I just want my life back.
Back of my mind, all I could see is his grinning picture when he was in his jail uniform and wondering what the hell was he grinning for.
A beautiful young lady vanished in 2011, just a year shy of turning 20. The pure depravity of the murder is disturbing. And for 9 years now, I and countless others have tried to determine what could have motivated someone to dismember and hastily dispose of Karina Saunders. In this special report, we'll take you deep inside this horrific case. On Thursday morning, October 13th, 2011, Margie Queen and Richard Saunders were growing increasingly concerned. No one had seen or heard from their daughter in weeks. She couldn't be reached by phone, and her social media was stagnant.
Her last post was, "What's everybody doing tonight?" And that had been a long time, and it was just setting off alarm bells. I'm Margie Queen. I am the mother of Karina Saunders.
Karina was nowhere to be found, so she turned to police for help. Oklahoma City took the report, but the 19-year-old didn't have a phone or a car to track. Karina had been bumming rides from friends, and most recently she'd been staying with her cousin Katie. The two were close, more like sisters.
It was on a Sunday. Katie had called me and said, "Well, I got these weird text messages and something about, I'm going to bury you next to Karina."
I almost fell apart. I'm Richard Saunders, the father of Karina Saunders, and I promise there will be justice. I started calling everybody that I had their number to, get a hold of her, anybody I could call.
The officer assigned to the case was telling me I didn't, kids do this.
Margie and Richard feared something more sinister was going on. Karina had graduated from Mustang High School a year earlier and had been quick to gain her independence. The parents say it was at that point when things started to derail for Karina.
It's a touchy subject, hard to talk about. That was her introduction to, we'll just say, meth.
It was a battle. Started, talking with her, reasoning with her, yelling at her, crying at her.
Karina eventually caved to her parents' pleading and went to rehab. The month before her disappearance, she'd been clean, found Jesus, and spent time with her family. By all accounts, Karina was doing much better and would not have intentionally gone off the grid. Margie urged the officer to take the case seriously.
I said, "Well, what can I do?" I said, "What are y'all going to do? Are you going to go out and look for her?" He said, "No." He said, "That's not what we do." He said, "What I can suggest is that you make up flyers and post them."
Margie was willing to try anything, so she followed the officer's advice, putting up missing posters at I-40 in Rockwell. Margie didn't think Karina had simply vanished from that intersection. She had connected the area to one of the many mysterious incidents in the days leading up to her disappearance. Karina's cousin told police she dropped Karina at that Taco Bell on September 28th. There, Karina met up with her acquaintance, Kenny Richards, a man more than twice her age with a sordid past. Karina climbed into his SUV and the two drove out of sight.
And I went up and down Rockwell. Can I put it on the outside? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Going into stores, asking if I could put up flyers. And the last place I stopped at was Homeland. I tried not to act like I thought something more was wrong. I guess because my hope was bigger than the reality. I can just imagine Karina's face going into one of these stores and calling one of us saying, "Really? Come on, will you take that down? This is embarrassing." I mean, and I wanted that. I wanted that call so bad. I was expecting that call.
Instead, a drastically different call was made. The call the parents didn't want.
That's 911.
And when I heard that, I was like, no.
When we come back, the discovery that turned Margie and Richard's world upside down and stunned not only police, but the entire community.
That's 911.
We've got a smell and a large black bag that has been hidden here.
The call came into Bethany mid-morning. An animal rescue group was feeding feral cats in a wooded area behind the Homeland grocery store on Rockwell when they stumbled upon a large duffel bag resting against a smaller laundry bag. The group called 911, convinced something was wrong.
The large black bag that has been hidden here. and we're not sure what it is. I think maybe you guys better check it out.
It was a horrific crime scene. I know that the initial officers that arrived on scene, I mean, they struggle to this day with that. You know, this is a case that I think about every day. My name is Phil Cole. I'm the police chief in Bethany, Oklahoma. We're a small community, 5 square miles, just short of 20,000 people. This case was certainly out of the ordinary. I remember getting to the scene, and there was a lot of anger, and that somebody would do this to a 19-year-old girl. We're approximately 150 yards from the actual spot we recovered Karina's body.
Chief Cole and his officers had never come across anything like this. Evil, grisly, and investigators noticed already deteriorating. Still, the evidence contained in the bags made it clear police were no longer dealing with a missing persons case. This was a murder, and the killers, whoever they were, had gone to extremes to try and conceal her identity.
I remember just distinctly her remains coming into the office, obscuring the typical things that we might use for identification. So the removing of tattoos, this is uncommon by the way, but we have seen it. The removing of fingertips or even other things that might be used for identification.
The medical examiner used dental records to identify the remains as Karina Saunders, but could not determine, based on the circumstances, whether she was alive during the dismemberment.
And I'll never forget it. My name's Eric Pfeiffer. I'm the Chief Medical Examiner for the state of Oklahoma. The evidence suggests that this death was violent.
They tried to break it to us as easily as possible, but
It was the worst, worst day of my life. I've seen my daughter's head. I saw my daughter's head.
she weighed less when we buried her than she did when she was born.
How old are you, Karina?
She was a good baby.
When's your birthday?
She was just really fun.
She was just such an articulate little girl.
The parents were smitten with their precocious little girl.
Karina, are you putting the puzzle together?
She was a spelling bee champ and loved to sing.
How do you spell your name?
C-A-R-I-N-A.
Good girl.
She could sing and she just had a beautiful voice.
I keep wishing I were somewhere else, walking down a strange new street.
There was just an aura about her that was just really beautiful and really sweet.
And this was a promising young lady, had the world by a string, and fell in with the wrong crowd and, suffered a horrible death.
As Bethany police began investigating Karina's murder, they discovered she had become connected to people in the drug trade. Dealers, users, addicts, a dark and well-concealed underground.
A lot of us at Bethany had not been introduced to that world. We had a learning curve as we went along. It's our job to follow every lead. We interviewed over 100 people in this case. We seized over 100 items of evidence. We served a dozen search warrants.
But investigators never found where she was killed, making it difficult to come up with a clear timeline of Karina's final days.
We couldn't really establish where exactly she was last seen alive. And one was at a casino in Newcastle. One was in an apartment in War Acres, and then one was somewhere near Northwest Highway in Rockwell.
Investigators explored several theories, eventually zeroing in on two potential suspects. Jimmy Massey was already at the center of a drug investigation when police brought him in for questioning. A young woman had come forward claiming Massey kidnapped her and forced her to watch the torture and killing of Karina.
Based on witness statements that he was involved, based on his own statements, we felt that we had probable cause to move forward with an arrest.
Witness statements also implicated Luis Ruiz. Ruiz was accused of making a snuff video of the murder as an intimidation tactic. Investigators believed Ruiz and Massey were running a criminal operation, dabbling in drug and sex trafficking. Murder charges were filed against both suspects, but the case was far from being closed. When we returned, the prosecutor's decision that would send this case into a tailspin. To see a timeline of Karina's case and read documents from the investigation, go to news9.com/Karina Saunders. Karina Saunders' murder became a case of capture and release. Two men arrested on the suspicion of torturing and killing Karina 9 months after her remains were found in bags behind a Bethany grocery store. Investigators believed it was an intimidation tactic, the efforts of drug and sex traffickers trying to protect their underground operations by silencing their victims. But according to investigators, some of them just couldn't keep quiet.
Everybody growing up makes mistakes. You know, my life has been like this. When's enough enough? Just tired of going through it.
Do you feel like you've paid the price for the mistakes you made?
I have some new developments tonight. Police arrested Jimmy Massey. During interrogation, Massey admitted to knowing about the murder and dismemberment of Karina Saunders.
If the bare facts of the case weren't lurid enough, investigators learned of the possible ties to drug cartels and sex slavery. And by the following summer, 9 months after Karina was killed, Bethany police were feeling enormous pressure to make an arrest. In July 2012, they made two.
Prosecutors filed first-degree murder charges against Luis Ruiz and Jimmy Massey.
But the case quickly fell apart. Oklahoma County prosecutors soon realized investigators had based the arrest more on statements from alleged eyewitnesses than actual evidence.
We faced an incredibly difficult set of circumstances. Our hopes were that in between the time of arrest and the time of trial, that we could continue to build that evidence base.
Luis Ruiz and Jimmy Massey languished in the Oklahoma County Jail for 7 months as investigators worked to bolster their case. But an alleged video of her killing never surfaced. Witnesses started to change their stories, and the statements as to how and where Karina was killed now conflicted with each other.
It was just like gut-wrenching. There wasn't no doubt in my mind that this was fixing to be probably the worst time of my life.
Prosecutors had no choice but to dismiss the murder charges.
What it takes to arrest somebody on probable cause differs from the burden of proof that a prosecutor would need in a court of law to gain a conviction.
Chief, with hindsight, is there anything you would have done differently?
You know, over the years, I have second-guessed myself about the decision to keep this case. Looking back, I think we probably had more boots on the ground than OSBI would have been able to provide.
The district attorney saw it differently, and Bethany police relinquished control of the case. More than a year after Karina's murder, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation took over. Luis Ruiz walked free, sued the Bethany Police Department, and settled for $50,000. Jimmy Massey served time for an unrelated drug charge and also went free, but he's still looking for redemption.
They got it wrong, straight up wrong. Not a murder. I'm not a kidnapper. I'm not a monster. And that's why it's so hard. And you know, crying, and it's hard because people think I know something when I don't.
Even though his murder charge was dropped, Massey knows some still believe he was involved, which is why he's speaking out publicly now for the first time.
Still going through it. For no reason. Man, I lost marriages, family, jobs, everything. I'm ready for it to be over with.
Massey admits he's made some bad choices and says he's most regretful of the drug dealing. He believes Bethany police rushed to judgment because of it.
I was just a street pusher. I was just a little man on a totem pole. They call me country guy because I'm just no country boy.
Massey says his drug dealing was don't ask, don't tell. So when detectives presented him with a lineup of women involved in the local drug trade, he didn't recognize any of them, not even Karina.
I never sold no drugs to her. I never met her. I never even seen her. I don't even know who she is.
How is it possible that you are operating in these drug circles, but you don't know anyone who was participating?
I didn't pay attention. I just wanted my money.
Massey says he told police the same story. And even though he had been on a bender just before the interrogation, he says he definitely didn't confess to anything.
I was drunk. I was high. You know, I was partying. You know, no. And then when I came to, like I said, I'm in the Bethany Police Department with M1 on my door. Asked them what that is, and they said murder one. I said, no, it was not.
Did you kill Karina Saunders?
No, I did not. I did not. I had nothing to do with her death.
Did you hurt Karina Saunders?
Never heard her, because I never met her. Don't even know who she is.
And did you kidnap someone?
No, never kidnapped nobody. Yeah, period. I don't know. Sure didn't, man.
Bethany police say that you admitted to being present for the murder. Did you witness her murder?
No, I didn't. I'm saying I've never been around anybody. I don't know who did it, and I never witnessed anything.
So you've never witnessed any murder?
I've never witnessed any murder, period.
You go into a polygraph tomorrow morning. Is there anything you're withholding?
Nothing. Hook me up. Let's go. I mean, they're gonna get the same answers. They ask me this, they're gonna get the truth. I don't know nothing. I had nothing to do with Karina Saunders' murder. I'm just an innocent man that got accused of kidnapping. That's how it all started.
Still ahead, Jimmy Massey put to the test. Was he telling the truth when he says he had nothing to do with Karina's murder? What he revealed during his polygraph.
Everything's on the line. His entire reputation's on the line. His life was on the line at one time. You know, he went to jail for a while and still being accused of this kind of thing. If you really try and put yourself in his position, that really amplifies the stakes of the game there.
Why, after all of this time, you want to take a polygraph?
I'll do whatever it takes, like I said, to clear my name. I don't know what the kind of hell I got to go through to do it.
Jimmy Massey kept his word. The man once charged with the horrific murder of Karina Saunders, now a free man living a quiet life in Texas, came back to Oklahoma to put all doubt to rest. We arranged for Massey to take a polygraph test.
So I'm gonna go in with confidence. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna tell the truth and be me.
Massey was ready to answer the unrelenting questions asked by a licensed examiner.
You've done a lot of polygraphs in your career. What did you make of Jimmy Massey's demeanor when he came to take the polygraph?
He was nervous, like everybody that walks through that door. No one comes into a polygraph suite and says, hey, everything's going right in my life. I think I just want to take one of these today. It always deals with, well, hey, look, I'm being accused of something very serious, and I need to clear it up. My name is Kyle Franks. I'm a licensed polygraph examiner in the state of Oklahoma. I conducted a polygraph on Jimmy Massey on July 23rd, 2020.
A polygraph examination has more than a 90% accuracy rate, according to the American Polygraph Association. The test Massey was about to take is nearly impossible to beat.
It's one of the most accurate ones that we can run. I mean, it is truly a specific issue test.
3 critical questions, and getting reliable answers takes a lot of setup. The tubes around the stomach and chest to sense natural body movements, an arm cuff to monitor heart rate and blood pressure, skin sensors to record even the smallest sweat gland response, and a seat pad for detecting intentional movement.
Going on the upper chest, okay?
Massey got hooked up to all of it.
Jimmy, your hand will be numb by the end of this.
And then settled in a small, sterile room for a 5-hour marathon. First reviewing his medical history and confirming he'd not done any illegal drugs within 24 hours of the test. Massey acknowledged his rights and consented to the test.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. And we'll do this multiple times, so it's not just one and done. The test has begun. Please remain still. Do you understand I will ask you only the questions we reviewed?
Yes.
Regarding physically causing, participating in the death of Karina Saunders and knowing for sure who did it, you intended to tell the truth?
Yes.
Did you cause the death of Karina Saunders?
No.
Regarding the death of Karina, did you participate in any way?
No.
Did you cause the death of Karina Saunders? Regarding the death of Karina, did you participate in any way?
Nope.
Do you know for sure who caused the death of Karina Saunders?
No.
Did you cause the death of Karina Saunders?
No.
This concludes this test. Please remain still while I take the instrument out of operation.
Okay. To be honest, what did that look like?
When we return, the results of Jimmy Massey's polygraph. And later, another test as Massey comes face to face with Karina Saunders' parents.
For 9 years, I've been going through a lot. I mean, just like y'all have.
Well, you haven't been in our shoes.
I'm not here to...
We're walking in here with our daughter dead, and we're gonna walk out here with our daughter still dead.
I came into this thing not even knowing what the questions are going to be like. I came in going, bring it on. I don't care what you got to ask. I'm fighting for mine and my family, and I'm not going to stop.
Do you intend to tell the truth?
Yes. I'm going to clear my name.
Please remain still. The test is about to begin. Did you cause the death of Karina Saunders?
No. It was kind of stressful a little bit.
Do you know for sure who caused the death of Karina Saunders?
No. I already know deep in my heart, my soul, and every fiber of my body, I'm not going to fail this thing.
This concludes this test. Please remain still.
Jimmy Massey did something he's wanted to do since getting out of prison. Have the chance to show everyone he was wrongly accused in the murder of 19-year-old Karina Saunders.
If you've never been in a position like that before, it's like, it can be intimidating.
There's a process behind this, but we will be asking about your past, what you've been involved in.
Massey spoke with state-certified polygraph examiner Kyle Franks at length before the test actually began. They went over every question in advance to make sure Massey understood.
We do some really serious tests on some really serious accusations, and that's the only thing we've got sometimes. This is the only way that the dead can talk.
The grueling 5-hour ordeal came down to this moment.
No deception indicated. You passed this test, okay? You did really well.
Hell yeah.
Foreman, I'll give you a minute to collect yourself.
Hell yeah. I passed, man.
You did good. You did good.
Miss me.
Here you go. There you go.
Yeah. I passed. It's a relief, proving my innocence. Now it's out in the open. I had nothing to do with that.
The polygraph Massey submitted to contained a section of questions about the murder of Karina Saunders, and in his answers to those questions, the examiner determined Massey was not being deceptive.
And how can you be so confident in your test?
It's one of the most accurate ones that we can run.
The validity of polygraph testing has been heavily debated. Critics claim the test can only measure body changes, which may indicate if someone's being truthful, but does not give definitive evidence. While a polygraph test is not admissible in court, examiners maintain it is a reliable tool to help vindicate someone like Jimmy Massey.
Why it works is pretty important for everybody to understand. There's one person in the world that you can't lie to. Jimmy got this right off the bat. He immediately said, well, that's myself. And when you try to do that, and it creates a fight or flight, freeze, reaction in your body. And that's what we're recording.
Kyle Franks took us inside Massey's mind to help us better understand the results of his test. Each chart contained a series of control questions that the examiner uses to provide baseline measurements for comparison purposes.
Right here, you'll see me ask a question, and then you'll see his reaction to that control question. You can see his heart rate rising right here. He's thinking about it. And then here's what we're going to ask is, regarding the death of Karina, did you participate in any way? When I asked that question, his heart rate actually went down. There's another relevant question. Do you know for sure who caused the death of Karina Saunders? His heart rate actually goes down on those. That means a lot to me as an examiner. That is indicative of a truthful person.
To get a second opinion, we shared Massey's results with an independent examiner. And David Otwell with Truth Verification Polygraph Services reviewed the charts. His analysis found no deception indicated when Massey was asked about Karina's murder.
With the charts that we ran, there's a certain cut score that you have to reach, and he surpassed that by a lot. It was considerable.
So in layman's terms, there's no gray area?
He passed that test, for sure. He did not cause the death of Karina Saunders.
Would passing a lie detector test be enough to convince Karina's parents that Massey had nothing to do with their daughter's murder?
They're saying that you were in there. If you know anything, now would be a time to come clean.
To learn more about Jimmy Massey's polygraph test, head over to news9.com/Karina Saunders. We witnessed Jimmy Massey take a lie detector test. That was a condition of getting to sit down and talk with Karina Saunders' parents. But Massey welcomed it, wanting the chance to convince them he had nothing to do with their daughter's murder. And we wanted some assurance that he would be truthful with them, considering everything they've been through. Mr. Massey, why do you want to meet with Karina Saunders' parents?
I want them to see me instead of what everybody else painted a picture of me.
But you may very well walk into them, both Margie and Richard, thinking that you killed their daughter.
I didn't. Had nothing to do with that. I never knew her. I never met her. I never seen her. I've never talked to her. Anything. And it's just something I feel like I got to do.
You're willing to answer their questions?
I'm willing to answer any question.
Jimmy Massey is about to come face to face with the parents of Karina Saunders, the 19-year-old that Massey at one point was accused of killing.
I'm willing to face the firing squad if that's what it takes. I threw up twice already this morning. Yeah, that's how nervous I am. Here we go. Oh, here we go.
Margie, Richard, I know you guys have for a long time wanted an opportunity to sit down with Jimmy Massey and ask him some questions. And he is willing to answer any questions you have.
Yes, I am. I want to let y'all know that I'm not that monster. You know, for 9 years I've been going through a lot. I mean, just like y'all have.
Well,
I have. I lost a child when he was 12, and it sucks.
well, I'm sorry for your loss.
And I am too. I'm sorry.
You
for
haven't been
too.
in our shoes for what was done to our daughter.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that.
You were one of the faces for this long. Yeah, you passed the polygraph. It's been proven that those are passable. But at the same time, some of the questions you were asked, my question is how many people do you actually know? How much are you actually hiding?
But I'm still asking like the same questions y'all are, like why?
And that's what I've been having a difficult time with. We're walking in here with our daughter dead, and we're going to walk out here with our daughter still dead. So obviously, yeah, with no answers. Obviously, we're here for you.
But I'm not here to, you know, I just want y'all to know that I'm not a monster. I'm not a killer. I have a baby girl. I'm married.
Well,
we're looking for answers.
So am I.
And I know you are. The only thing I can say at this point is that if you know anything, now would be a time to come clean. See, when Bethany first called us in, they were like, yeah, there was a large quantity of dope, and somebody, you, had said that somebody had stolen it, and the person that was accused of stealing this dope was our daughter. This is how all this started. You know, that's where we're at this point, because dope, cartel, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and you and Luis and the cartel, this was all a big ordeal back then.
Yeah, I was right in the middle of a storm, and I don't even know how I got there.
There was other women who said, one said specifically you kidnapped her and held her against her will to watch while Luis Ruiz did what he did. So they're saying that you were in there. You weren't a part of it, but you were there.
Part of maybe planning or arranging person to go here or there.
No, I've never.
But did you know her?
No, I've never seen her. That is what I'm asking. Like, why did y'all single me out? Who was this girl that said all this stuff?
Your name came out of her mouth. Where'd that come from?
Was it Country or was it Jimmy Massey?
Who's Country?
That's me.
Okay.
But you know how many countries are in Oklahoma? Like just a nickname? There's a lot of them.
That's true, there are.
What do you think you're guilty of?
Selling drugs, low-end drugs, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm guilty of. Do I regret it? Oh, hell yeah.
Here we are taking you at your word for what you're saying right now. You say you weren't.
I mean, like I said.
But we don't know how deep you were except for what you're saying. We don't know if you were there except for what you're saying now. There's no proof, there's no evidence that says you weren't other than your polygraph test.
Like I said, I'm sorry for your loss, I am. But the way you feel about me, okay, well, they got a little hostility against me, which that's understandable. It isn't, and I ain't gonna lie, I had a little bit for y'all too.
Put yourself in our shoes.
Oh,
and you're the accused. Do we want to see you walk free? We don't know you.
19-year-old.
Yeah,
that's what I want you to do is get to know me.
You know, I doubt if that's going to happen.
I understand. Okay.
You know, this is about as close as we're going to get, and believe me, their thoughts ran about being a lot closer. We'll never regain what we've lost. And, you know, all the inconsistencies that you're giving us, all the inconsistencies that the police have given us, when's it going to end?
That's what I want to help. I want to help it to end.
Well, when the people that were involved in our daughter's death, when they were arrested and tried, then I will apologize to you.
I appreciate it.
Because that would mean a lot to me.
Well, I'll step up and say the same thing. I'll shake your hand when that day comes. You know, there's a lot of thoughts going through my head. I can't answer all of them. You can't answer all of them.
I wish I had the answers from those questions. But like I said, to get your handshake, I'm gonna fight harder. Giving you my word, looking you right in your eye as a man and saying, I will do whatever it takes to get that handshake.
I'm done. I say we end it right there.
I'm not done fighting y'all. Y'all need my help. I'm here.
As Massey walked out of the door, Karina's parents still suspected he might be taking valuable information with him.
I wasn't expecting anything out of him. You know, I'm not going to give up, but, you know, I'm not going to sit here and try to let one meeting with one person sway me in any way that I feel.
Shortly after their contentious meeting came a bit of hope for the parents. We obtained never-before-seen evidence in this case. When we come back, will it be enough to help push the case forward?
In my mind, this is probably one of the most beautiful and most relaxing spots that you can go to and visit. When we put her here, this whole part of this cemetery was empty practically. That angel's seen better days.
I know. Well, that one has too.
Uh-huh. Time to get some new ones.
But I kind of don't want to. I know, in reality, holding on to something that's broken like that is... I don't know.
We're still holding on to our lives, which have been broken. So there ain't nothing different.
Their shattered dreams are buried here, but Karina's parents have faith that the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation will unearth the truth about their daughter's murder.
I cannot imagine what it would be like to lose a loved one, especially through violence of this kind, and especially when there is no answer. We'll dedicate every resource we can to them.
OSBI Director Ricky Adams says they are making progress. Since getting the case in February 2013, more than a year after the killing, several agents have taken the lead. Most recently, Special Agent Megan Bowman.
There's a lot of pressure to solve this case. My name is Megan Bowman. I'm a special agent with the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, and I'm the lead agent on the Karina Saunders case. It's not going to go away. I'm not going to go away.
But getting the case so late meant the OSBI lost the advantage of time. A possible crime scene, a known drug house on South Harvey, had already been demolished, and some of the initial witnesses were tough to track down.
There's a lot of hurdles we have to jump over. We've been reprocessing the evidence. We've been going back and talking to individuals over again.
Focusing on people who were with Karina in her final days. Kenny Richards, the man who picked her up from Taco Bell, eventually emerged as a person of interest.
Yeah.
In 2017, acting on a tip, the OSBI began digging in Richards' backyard. They discovered an old septic tank, and in it, women's clothing and a knife. The OSBI processed that evidence, but haven't spoken of it since. To date, Kenny Richards has not been charged with a crime related to Karina Saunders. But he, Luis Ruiz, and Jimmy Massey are still on investigators' radar.
There have been a few potential suspects in the spotlight during this investigation. Have you been able to rule any of them out?
No, we are still actively pursuing all leads as they come in.
More recently, the OSBI offered a reward for information on the mysterious people Karina was last seen with at the Newcastle Casino. Security cameras spotted Karina with an unidentified man with sleeve tattoos, getting into a red Ford four-door pickup while young women in a car nearby seemed to beg her not to go. Then there's the rumored video of Karina's murder.
I am doubtful that the video exists. Kind of after the story hit the drug world, there were people using this story to instill fear in other people. And so that's kind of spread. That's one of the rumors.
But Special Agent Bowman says any tip, no matter how seemingly insignificant, could be the break they need, such as this never-before-seen sketch of a man investigators now want to speak with. Witnesses claim this man was in the area around the time that Karina's body was found.
Are you ever scared knowing that there's this vicious killer or killers out there and you're so closely connected to the case?
I think they should be scared of me because I'm going to find them.
Afternoon, sir. It's just something that needs to be done.
Karina's family and friends have matched investigators' efforts over the years.
I'll go this way.
There's a pain you can't describe, but for the strength and courage of my friends and family and my other kids, I have to carry on and show everybody that you can be strong in the face of adversity. So here I am once again.
Routinely reminding people about Karina's case.
We just want to make sure that she's not forgotten. I know that there's at least one person or many people that have that missing piece, that have that evidence, and they don't need to be scared anymore. Like, that's what Karina needs. She needs a hero.
Karina's face is also in front of hundreds of prisoners. She is the queen of spades in a deck of cold case playing cards distributed by the OSBI. The cards are meant to draw leads from convicts.
I think somebody out there knows something and they need to come forward.
We're waiting. It ain't gonna get any better.
No amount of time will heal the heartbreak of losing their daughter, but Richard and Margie look forward to justice for Karina.
This is about as close as we're gonna get until the day comes that we can all be joined again.
Each day is one day closer.
Mm-hmm.
To hear more from our interview with Karina's parents, go to news9.com/Karina Saunders.